climbing, I'm losing my grip. Storage costs rising, they'll never let me skip. Refunds I'm eating, returns pile up too. Oh, Amazon, what else will you do? I look at my dashboard, my profits erased. My margins are gone, it's a slap in the face. Prime Day's a promise, but it's such a race. How much will I make if I'm replaced? It's a cruel, cruel number. Fees keep climbing, profits torn asunder. Oh, it's cruel, the sellers wonder how to survive when the margins go under. It's a cruel, cruel number. Every month it's something new to plunder. Oh, it's cruel, it's no wonder we're stuck in this game. The algorithm's thunder.
Yo, Amazon's back, and they got a new scheme. Reimbursement slashed, it's every seller's dream. They're digging deep, taking more from the pot. Let's break it all down, expose what they got. March 25, it's a policy drop. They say manufacturing costs, but we know it's a flop. Give us your cogs, they're demanding the price. But if you don't, they'll estimate nice. Nice for them, not for you. Watch a payout shrink. That comprehensive evil is a corporate wing. Lost in the warehouse, damaged on the floor. Now they pay you pennies, not a cent more. Fees on the rise, profits on the run. They don't lift a finger, but they pocket the fun. We're fair! They shout while they cut our shares. Amazon math, man, it's full of errors. Fees, taking our dough. They're stacking the deck, and it's sellers who owe. Reimbursement? Nah, they're taking us down, but we're still here, we don't mess around. Fees, straight to the top. Amazon's game, it'll never stop. Margins tight, but we keep the grind. Sellers unite, we're one of a kind.
I try to sell my product on Amazon, thought it'd be a breeze. But little did I know I'd be stuck with seller support disease. They never seem to solve my problems, just give me the runaround. I'm tired of waiting on hold. My patience is wearing thin, I'll never be found. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck. Can't get no satisfaction. I'm out of luck, out of luck, out of luck. You don't care about my business, just trying to make a buck. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck.
This one's for the sellers on the grind, getting left on red, wasting all their time. I hit up support, got an auto reply. Thanks for your patience, man, I wanna cry. Inventory lost, my margins are toast. Reps playing tag like the Casper the Ghost. They pass me around, it's a never-ending game. Nobody takes action, everybody shifts blame. My ASIN's down, I'm out of the race. They say they'll escalate, yo, what a disgrace. Amazon seller support, you're breaking my heart. No answers, no fixes, just tearing me apart. Hours in the queue, stuck in the dark. Amazon seller support, you're missing the mark.
Amazon game plan, that is the key. Seller Central dashboard, that's where I be. Analyze the funnel, see what we lack, then we optimize. Sellers know it's a fact. I get it poppin', you know that it's lit. Climbing the rankings, ain't no room to quit. I check the data, they notice the stats. I keep the method, that's how you adapt. Metrics are showing, you know it's our cap. Amazon sellers, it's time to react. I'm about that action, I do this with passion. I got them like, whoa, what is this? Huh, whoa.
I don't know, dude. I think everybody's just buying stuff based on reviews and badges or whatever. They don't even know who we are. These customers don't even know the name of my brand. But they keep clicking add to cart like it's part of the plan. They see that Amazon badge and think it's all grand. But yo, they don't even know the name of my brand.
Click, scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell a day. Now listen up, I'm Steven Pope, Amazon guru, I'll help you cope. Step 1, get that trademark stamped. Without brand registry, your Amazon cramped. Head to Seller Central, log in quick. Manage stores tab, yeah, that's the trick. Upload your logo, flex that style. You're about to make Jeff Bezos smile. Where pick a template, marquee or grid. Drop your tiles like a branding whiz. Hero image, big and bold. This store's gonna glitter like digital gold. Flex, grow, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell today. Yo. In the trenches of the Amazon game, trying to survive while it's driving me insane. Nobody warns you, they just claim it's passive income. Nah, it's pain. I'm sitting at a birthday, laughing, chilling, next to a newbie Amazon seller spilling. She's like, Prime so smooth, it's a killer. Then tried to sell, now she's stuck in a thriller. Finding products, yeah, that's the first grind. Scrolling Alibaba, losing my mind. Samples suck, manufacturers decline. I'm like, dang, how's anyone doing this fine? Ship it in, pay for the bubble wrap, but they ship glass bottles in padded crap. Now I got hot sauce leaks, refund stacked, customers pissed. Man, I'm under attack. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat. Trademark wars, brand registry's a scam. They banned my brand, now I'm in a jam. Listings yanked, products ranked and tanked. Lost dogs in the catalog, my account shanked. Now let's talk ads, it's a rabbit hole. 1,000 hours deep, man, it's taking my soul. Weekly negations, bulk sheets for control. Excel's my new weapon, but it's taking its toll. SEO's no joke, keywords in the game. All text, A+ content, playing insane. Lifestyle shots, avatars for fame, but the CTR's low, all products look the same. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, from SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat.
Let's go to Mac School. To Mac School. Class is now in session with Professor Pope. They got the SOP, cause Professor Pope wrote the recipe. Helping Amazon sellers grow sales exponentially. Amazon's a jungle, but we map the strategy. Brand strategist playbook, it's a guide to victory. Troubleshooting catalogs, you know we got the answer key. Boosting all your rankings, turning sales into a legacy. SOB so deep, you think we studied at Mac School. Every step we follow leads to growth, yeah, it's a golden rule. Stuck on keywords, we'll find the ones that work the best. Using Helium 10, strike distance keywords pass the test. Incremental indexing ensures the listing set to rise. From the back end to the bullets, optimization hits the skies. Brand store creation, yeah, we make it shine and flow. A+ content design makes conversions overflow. Need your images on point, best practices in the plan. All text and photo rules ensure your visuals command. SEO meets PPC, it's balanced, every step aligned. We'll construct the MKLs that drive rankings over time. Budget caps and bid adjustments, no more wasted spending. Segmentation builds campaigns that sellers can defend. Got a hijacker, no problem, we'll file to take them down. Review requests in action, 5-star ratings come around. Flat file updates, market share reports, it's all in reach. Professor Pope wrote the SOP so sellers learn and teach.
Meanwhile, my Amazon guys on the case, fixing up my problems at lightning pace. Ticket escalations, Mag's the boss. Even Amazon says we'll take the loss. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. They're supposed to be the pros, but they can't decode policies and tools from their own damn road. I'm paying fees, yet they bring me stress. But Mag turns my chaos into pure success. Seller support reps, they throwing shade, but then admit, yo, Mag will get you paid. Third-party agency taking the throne while Amazon fumbles in their own. Don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. So here's the truth, let's keep it real. Mag's the team with the pro-level skill. Amazon sellers, you know the vibe when support says call Mag. They'll give you peace of mind. Amazon seller support, you can suck my image stack. Sucking is all you're good at anyway. Bezos, hit me up if you want to sell seller support. I'm buying. There's a chase. Peace.
Hello, everybody. We're going to be talking about pay-per-click advertising on Amazon and how to maximize your results. My name is Kevin Sanderson, and I am the marketing and partnerships guy here at My Amazon Guy. I've also been a seller myself for over 10 years, advertising for, I think it'll be 10 years in February. So it started dabbling in retail arbitrage in 2015 and made my way into being a brand owner in 2016 and have been advertising a lot since then. Spent a small fortune over the years of my own money, gotten to see what works and what doesn't work, as well as I've hosted countless webinars and summits on the topic of pay-per-click advertising, as well as live streams here on My Amazon Guys channel. So I am here to answer your questions to help you maximize your results and do the best that you possibly can. So I like to start these things off with just like a quick little question. I know probably for the people in the replay, you can skip through this part, but for those of you watching live, this is kind of fun just to see where everybody's at. Using creativity, using your mind, creativity. Let me know in the comments using an emoji and creativity and emoji, describe the current state of your PPC results. Have fun with that. So, and creativity and participation are oftentimes rewarded here. I just want to throw both of those out, but you must be live. So if you're not live, then make sure to join us live for another one of these in the future. So, got a few people saying hello. Have not gotten any emojis just yet. I know folks are watching. Starting to come in there. So we got Luz, Stella, Geraldo, Bettenker. Hopefully I said that correct. Luz, it's nice to see you. Hello. Hi, Kevin. She says. At 28, Sahil Mulani 58. That's quite the name there, the screen name. So Sahil, hello to you as well. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I do remember you from last week, and you have a product in the UK that you want me to review, which I will take a look at. In fact, I've already pulled it up. Abanoob says, hi, Kevin, how are you doing? Or hello, Kevin, how are you doing? So again, remember, the task here is just to put an emoji into the chat, wherever you're at, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, some other place. I'm not even sure what it is. I just see that we're connected to something. And let me know what your thoughts are. And with that, let's go ahead and get into it. So Amazon Buy Sell, who looks like is a channel member. Thank you for being a channel member. Put a stop sign with a stop hand. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it's like in the song Ice Ice Baby. Stop, collaborate, and listen. So maybe you're stopping to collaborate and listen. Hopefully that's what it is, and not just the results have stopped, because that would be tragic. I hope that's not the case for you. Sahil looks like a crying grimace. If you remember Grimace from McDonald's commercials from back in the day. I don't know if they still advertise with Grimace. We have, let's see, what else do we have here? We have Sahil says game over. Oh, that, at least when I was a kid, game over, like if I was playing Super Mario Brothers on my Nintendo Entertainment System, my NES, I could always restart. So the game in business is never actually over until you decide that it's over. So you can always just keep going. You can pivot, you can go maybe a different direction, but you're never the game is never truly over until you decide it's over. Because yes, Amazon gets to dictate a lot of the rules, but how you play that is going to be totally up to you. So the game of business of you deciding whether or not to keep going is up to you. So hopefully it's not totally game over for you. Matthew Johnson, 2702, looks like a frowny frozen face. So maybe the results are frozen. So hopefully that's hopefully that's something we can help you with. So feel free to ask any questions, Matthew. I'll see what I can do to help you out here. So Abanoob also is crying. There's a lot of crying here today. That's okay. It's okay. Sometimes you just got to get it out, and we'll help you with that. So, all right. VS Mentor, or maybe it's VSM Enterprises LLC. That probably makes more sense. It's like cool, calm, and collected. So I like to see that. It's like got the sunglasses emoji. Abanoob is continuing the crying because this is now the second time Abanoob is put in there. Looks like Abanoob also said he realizes he's behind on the live. So maybe that's nice. So maybe you cut away for a moment and then you were rewinding so you don't miss a moment. I love that. So it looks like a happy emoji, but this is now the third emoji you've put in there. So, all right. So let's see what we got here. We got some other questions, which I'll get to here in just a second. But if you have questions for this live stream, make sure to drop them into the chat. The nice thing is the sooner you drop in your questions, the more likely that we will be able to answer them. So what ends up happening just about every week is we get to the end and I've got questions left and I run out of time. I don't want to run out of time on you. And so the best thing you could do is drop your questions in now. Now, naturally, when you watch something like this, somebody may ask a question that prompts another question, because one question often prompts others. But you can imagine other people are having questions prompted by other people's questions. And towards the end, we have all these questions and I don't have time to get to them. So if you ask your question now, I'm pretty sure I will be able to get to your question if you ask it now. So now's a great time to ask the question. Just like the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is now. The best time to have figured out whatever question you have was probably in the past, but the second best time is now, better than the future. So, all right, so let's get into this. We have Luz asked quite a few questions. I'm kind of going backwards here. Where are your team or my team? I'm not 100%, or let me go back to this. How many employees do we have? We have about 500. Sometimes it's slightly above 500. Sometimes it's like 487 or something like that. We'll just call it, for the ease of math and explanation, we'll just say 500 even. How many brands or how many stores, selling partners? How many brands do we serve? It's about 400. And then where are your team or my team? So got it. So for us here at My Amazon Guy, our team is literally all over the world. We have, I don't know that we have every time zone represented, but we have a lot of people in the Western Hemisphere. And by Western Hemisphere, I'm talking about the United States, Canada, Mexico, and some other parts of Latin America. So we have at least the northern parts of the Western Hemisphere very well represented. And then southern part of the Western Hemisphere, we have some. So all those time zones are very well represented. Then we have probably a good chunk of our employee population is in the Philippines. So we have quite a few people there. And I'm going to take a quick sip. Excuse me, folks. Overcoming a little bit of a cold. You might hear some congestion. So if I cough, I apologize, folks. And then we have teams in other places around the world as well. But for the most part, I would say Western Hemisphere and literally 12 hours from the Eastern time zone. But with that, I would say we operate based on Eastern time zone as the time zone that we operate in. So, because we were based in, what's the word I'm looking for? In Georgia. It's that state like right above mine. Should be at the tip of my tongue, but I'm still have, what's the word I'm looking for? cold and cough on the brain, so to speak. So I apologize for that. All right. Anyway, Lou says, woo. I think that's a good thing. And then I would like manufacturing in the US. Great. I would highly recommend if you can find manufacturers for whatever it is in the US, it would make things simpler, especially with all the tariff drama. Although I do import my goods from China. All right. So I'm going to get into these questions that other folks have. So one question came in. My product, the click-through rate currently is very low, around 10%. Would you please, can you please suggest how I can improve it? I'd be happy to. In fact, I've already queued it up. Oh, wrong button. So if we go to share screen and enter, I've got it already queued up. So, oops, sorry, folks. All right, so let me go ahead and just click something wrong there. I would say the issue that you're having here is, for one, I see these are all a little bit more like you got the box and then you've got the whatchamacallit there. You've got the reed diffuser oil. So if I'm skipping back to, let's say, the product itself, this little flowery thing, that might be in the way. I would maybe have, if the competitors had more of the reeds, I might have more reeds. I might have lime, basil, and mandarin not quite as prominent. And I would also have luxury reed diffuser a little bit more prominent here. And then maybe still have lime, basil, and mandarin here. And then also maybe a smaller lime, basil, and mandarin. Because I think people want to be reassured of what the product is. And like, I don't know that I get the quick sense as easily, especially looking at some of the others, of knowing that that's what this product is. So that's my 2 cents. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get to some other questions here. Looks like folks are telling me we might have lost audio. So if anyone lost audio, I apologize for that. I should have my audio in. So let me know. Can you hear me? Let me know in the comments. Anyone else having issue with the audio? Can you guys hear me in the chat? Let me know. Oh, it looks like a few people said no sound. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. Just now could hear you. Okay, so people can hear me. Sorry, folks. Oh, I think I know what happened. Sorry about that. So basically, let me just give my quick what happened here. Basically, there's some issues we need to, my last answer probably needed to be repeated. So I think I took myself out of the chat instead of just taking myself out of the visual part. So sorry about that, folks. But basically here, looking at this product, the lime, basil, and mandarin, the issue here is you see very prominently what the scent is, but it's not reminding you what the product itself is. So I would make luxury reed diffuser more prominent, and then maybe lime, basil, and mandarin a little less prominent right here. So hopefully that makes sense. So with that, that would be my suggestion, and hopefully that helps. Now I'm going to get to some other questions here. So, all right, feel free to drop your questions in the chat and let me know how I can help you. And with that, what do we have here next? We have CKology says, hi guys, seller here from Malaysia. Glad to have you. Abanoob says, I have a friend who has a Halloween season decor product, but his sales have gone low significantly. So to revive sales, do you advise him to target so many keywords through his SEO and PPC campaigns? For context, should he just target a few keywords? If so, what is your best number? Has a target to have 8 to 15 pieces a day out from nearly 1 pieces a day right now. So my question is, I just heard, I saw that this is Halloween season decor and it's down. So is it down from last Tuesday, which was Prime Deal Days? Is it down from like maybe the beginning of October? I would ask him, what is the history on this product? Whether he has history or he can just look in like Helium 10 or Data Dive or something like that to look at the history of some of the competitors' products. What might be the issue here is that he might have a challenge with, let's say, the time frame of when people are buying decor. I would imagine right before Halloween, like the week leading up to Halloween. So let's say Friday the 24th all the way up until the 31st. People are probably buying tons of decor. Knowing how a lot of people operate, a lot of people decorate fall when you get to the end of September and in early October. So it's like almost like when the calendar swaps over to the month of October, I know that there's a lot of people who are going to be a lot of people who are going to be decorating for the fall and for Halloween. And so when they're doing that, they're probably going out and buying things. So probably end of September to early October. So if it's slow, is that normal for Halloween season? I don't know. You may want to look at that. So one of the things I always like to say is before making drastic decisions, make sure that there's, especially for a seasonal product, is this following a cycle or is this out of the norm? And I don't know the answer to that question, especially for Halloween stuff. So, sorry, one second. All right. So that would be my suggestion. Take a look at history. Now, if the history is it's fairly consistent the month of October and my assumption was incorrect, then you got to take a look at a few things like, okay, if you're seeing a drop in sales, are other products also seeing a drop in sales, meaning the BSR number is going up. So it was maybe a 30,000 BSR and now the competitors are all 150 BSR or whatever the case is. So you're going to have to take a look at things like that before making a drastic decision on, oh my gosh, should I change everything? But yeah, I would maybe potentially get a little bit more aggressive with PPC. What can you do to improve your main images? As we like to say here, the number one thing, and we've seen it time and time again, that you can do to improve your sales is to improve your main image. So if you can find ways to improve your main image, that's going to help you. Sorry, folks. Like I was saying, recovering from a cold. So if I mute myself every now and then, I don't mean to, I don't want to hurt your ears, so to speak. All right. Next up, we have Amazon Buy Sell says, what are the steps you take to optimize your campaign first after running 14 days? Great question. So what I usually do is I like to download the bulk files report. And you could, if this is, I'm assuming your campaign first time after running 14 days. I'm assuming you have other campaigns. So if you want to focus on just this campaign, what I like to do, and I like bulk files because if you're a spreadsheet geek like me, then you could do filters, you can do sorts. So what you would do is filter for keywords. So, that first column, or actually the second column, second column where it could be campaigns, keywords, ad groups, targets, whatever. You're going to filter for keywords. Then in your campaigns column, if you have other campaigns running, filter for just the campaign you want to look at. Now filter or sort by spend. So if you sort by spend, you're going to very quickly see where's my money going. And then if you wanted to, you could change that to now sorting by ACOS, highest to lowest. So that's going to tell you where am I spending a lot. And then you could go back to sorting by spend and filtering for orders equals 0. So meaning you have no sales. So where are you spending a lot of money with no sales? Then I would go do a similar exercise. You looking at the bulk files, but going to a different tab because you can get your search term report there. And so I would take a look at the duration of your campaign. Where are your bleeders? Meaning what keywords are you spending the most money on and getting you either no sales or super high ACOS, and potentially either cutting those out. If they're search terms, potentially making them negative. And then what is winning? So ideally, something's probably going to be winning. And then is there anything you might identify like, oh, this seems to be working really well? Maybe that's something you could add to your main image, or is that, need to be added somewhere into your listing so that hopefully you can also pick up more SEO sales. Because if you're winning well with PPC and you don't have that keyword in, let's say, maybe your back end search terms, maybe your bullet points, maybe in your listing images, maybe in your A+ content, potentially even in your alt text of your A+ content, added in all of the above, so that hopefully that will get you some SEO juice for that particular keyword or search term if it's something that's doing really well. Because if it's doing well with PPC, you want the algorithm to associate your listing to that word, and then hopefully that'll get you more impressions. Because if you're already doing well with that, you want to do even better with it with SEO traffic. So that would be kind of my thought process after running the campaign for 14 days. And best of luck moving along with that one. So, all right, we got other questions to get to. If you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If I mute myself for a moment, I apologize. I'm going to do my best not to leave myself on mute like I did earlier. So thank you, everyone, for your patience. I have a little bit of a cold and cough, but I'm here for you. I'm here to answer your questions and make this a good experience and learning for everybody. So, all right. So with that, we have Siddiqui AMZ LLC says, how to do keyword gap analysis. Wow, that sounds very fancy. Like how to find those keywords where our competitors are ranking, but we are not. So one of the best things you could do is there's a lot of different tools that could do this. Data Dive can help you with this. Helium 10 can help you with this. I'm more familiar with Helium 10, but basically you could use Cerebro, look up, let's say, the 10 competitors using Cerebro, which is a reverse ASIN tool. So get the ASINs of those 10 competitors, put them into Cerebro, and then just look and see what keywords are they all ranking for, and which ones of those are you not. So what you could theoretically do is you could do 10 competitors, because you can do up to 10. You could do 10 competitors, or you could do 9 competitors and yours, and then just see like where is the gap analysis. And that's probably your best gap analysis. That you could do that the quickest. Or you could do the 10 competitors and then do the same analysis with just one ASIN, just your ASIN. And then you could, if you're a real geek like me, you could VLOOKUP between the two lists. But one of the things they have is what they call ranking competitors, and that's the number of competitors that are ranking. So, for example, let's say you have 10 competitors you looked up, and in the ranking competitors column, there's 7. It must be pretty relevant if 7 of the 10 competitors are ranking for that keyword. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will be an 8th if you add yourself to it, but it at least gives you a little bit of understanding of what's going on there. So, all right. That will be your gap analysis. All right. Next up. All right. Next up, why so cute? I always enjoy watching these live streams. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy these live streams. All right. Moving along. Yes, it looks like I had quite a few people from whatchamacallit, from when I had taken myself out of the stream and my audio was not coming through. So again, apologize for that earlier. Let's see. Luz says, my address is in only Texas, not more North Carolina. Please change my address. If you would like us to update your address, just email podcast@myamazonguy.com, and I guess we can update your address. But that's great that you live in Texas. I grew up in the Lone Star State myself. I grew up in Dallas, Fort Worth area, in Richardson specifically. And I went to Texas Tech. My Texas Tech Red Raiders are number 7 in the nation, 6-0, undefeated, baby. And I know people that might say, well, you guys bought a lot of players. Yes. And everybody would love to have an alumni who is a billionaire oil man who's giving to the school. So, all right. Let's see. What else do we have here? So Matthew Johnson says more videos on our premium A+. Yeah, we can definitely take that suggestion. So either between myself or Noah or Steven, somebody will put out a video on premium A+ content. Abanoob says he has a history of the last year. Oh, gotcha. So you're talking about the person who we were talking about the Halloween product. So yeah, if this is following a different pattern than last year, then that's probably scarier. So yeah, you might want to focus more on the keywords that are doing well. But you may want to look and see like what is going on with the rest of your competitors. You know, could there be, I don't remember exactly when Prime Deal Days or whatever they called the fall Prime Day last year, what days those were, and maybe see if that maybe had something to do with the difference. Like if they moved it forward a week or back a week or something compared to what it was last year, you may want to look into all of that. But yeah, I would definitely look into all that. It can be scary because, you know, we are about 2.5 weeks away from Halloween. So that means they've got about 2 weeks left in the season. If they're selling a Halloween related product, but you know, what can you do to improve the main image? Are there keywords that you need to add into the listing? Did something happen with the product itself? Like, was it a fad last year? And here's another thing to always keep in mind. I shouldn't say never. Sometimes you just don't know. Last year, you could have had a bunch of traffic because some TikToker did a video on the product last year and didn't ask you to, they just did it. Or was included in a blog post of 10 things you need for Halloween decorations. And that post is not getting traction, or that TikTok video is not getting traction. So that can have a bearing sometimes from one year to the next. You know, sometimes there's some sort of trend for whatever reason, and your product is trend based. So if it's just 1 year, then you have some data. Now, if it's multiple years and this dip in the middle of October doesn't normally happen, then you probably want to do some more diagnosing of what's going on with your competitors. All right. If you have questions, drop them into the chat. Love to help you out as best as we can here. So next up, we have Alizo a Crypto says, hi, sometimes we get the sales on Amazon via non-PPC, but we are unsure that how we did this specific sale. Is there any way we can get the exact sales number? If yes, then how? Yeah, so the best way to get that data is, assuming you're brand registered, you want to pull up your search query performance reports in brand analytics. Take a look at that. That's going to give you a lot of data for your product, and you can look it up by week, by month, or by quarter. Now, you're not going to know the particular sale at 3 p.m. on Tuesday of last week, which sale or which keyword was it. You're just not going to know that. But it's at least going to give you some directional data. So at least know that, like, okay, this keyword is performing well in general. Now, it doesn't necessarily tell you PPC or not, but at least you kind of know, like, okay, I'm getting sales from this particular keyword. So it's more from you can either look at it from a brand standpoint or from an ASIN standpoint, but I would definitely look at the brand analytics. Excuse me. And we have quite a few videos here on this channel. If you look up, brand analytics, search query performance reports, or as we like to say, the ICAP funnel, ICAP. Just type in ICAP, and you should get quite a few different videos from us on that. So, and that's our impressions, clicks, add to carts, and purchases, which is also some more valuable information you can get per keyword on the keyword level, at the ASIN level as well. Both of those dynamics, you can get those by looking at your search query performance report. So, question is, sell the store or pay the taxes and connect to my bank? I'm not sure I understand the question. Cancel all, Kevin, please. Thanks for your support. Oh, maybe there was more there. All right. Next up, we have a follow-up question here from Alizoa Crypto. What can be the reason behind 0 impressions even after up and down bid adjustment? Thanks. Okay. Yes. So what this could be, hold on one second. Sorry, folks. All right. So what this could be is a relevancy issue. So at the end of the day, it's an auction, but it's not an auction like eBay. Whoever spends the most gets it. It's an auction kind of like that, but it's also who's most likely to get the sale. So it's a mix of the two. So relevance is a part of the auction as well. And that's a part you can't really auction relevance. You just have to have relevance. So for example, if I am selling a calculator and I want to sell my calculator, but go after Galaxy phone case for my Samsung Galaxy phone, I'm never going to show up selling a calculator for a Samsung Galaxy phone case because it's just not relevant. I could say I want to bid $1,000 a click, and the algorithm would probably laugh at me, or the AI maybe would laugh at me. No, it wouldn't actually laugh, but it just wouldn't show it. And so you might be saying to yourself, yes, but it's not quite that much of a mismatch, Kevin. And so that probably is the case. So then you have to look at, why does the algorithm believe that there's a mismatch? It's probably a mismatch if you're getting 0 impressions. So one, raise the bid itself. Even if you're doing up and down, just try raising the bid, just see what happens. Does that get you some impressions? Go into your listing, at least forward facing. Go to Amazon, look at your listing, Control F for find in your browser, and put in that keyword. Where is it? Is it in your title? Is it in your bullets? Is it in your product description, or at least in the crawlable text of your A+ content? Do you have an alt text of your A+ content? Do you have it in your backend search terms? I would look at all of that and say, okay, where am I missing adding this keyword? And if it truly is a relevant keyword, then you may just have to figure out, like, how do I include that in more? Now, the caveat to that is what I like to give the example of, let's say, dry erase markers. If you look up markers on Amazon versus, let's say, dry erase markers, this is not a dry erase marker, but just pretend this is a dry erase marker. It's a good example, though. There's tons of search volume for markers, but they're looking for like crafting markers, Crayola markers for school, things of that nature. There's not a lot of dry erase markers. So if you are selling a pack of red dry erase markers, you can target markers all day long, and you probably won't show up, because even though theoretically markers is relevant, but it's because it is a marker, but it's not the right kind of marker for that word itself. And if I was to go after, let's say with dry erase marker, go after permanent marker, I might show up. Or if I went after crafting markers, I might show up. Excuse me. But it's also not as relevant. So at some point, you're going to have issues with the algorithm might give you some impressions, but it might stop giving impressions because it's seeing people aren't clicking. And it's not what we think is relevant. It's what the customer votes with their clicks and their adds to carts and their ultimately with their wallets, so to speak, by purchasing the product. And if people aren't voting with their wallets, Amazon doesn't think it's relevant. So just things to keep in mind there. All right. Pujamahali 4070 says automatic targets or manual for new launch. Yes. Both. All the above. I would do all the above. And I always do. I do manual targeting and I do auto targeting. And auto targeting, you're going to find all kinds of deals that you wouldn't have found otherwise. Because you're also seeing like, what does the algorithm think your product is by where is it showing it? So just keep that in mind. So I would definitely do both. All right. Next up, Mohammed Adil I5M says, how can sellers stay profitable in a niche where the average bid is around $9 to $10, but the product price is only $20? Well, that is definitely a dilemma. So I'm hoping this is a product with some sort of lifetime value of a customer, something that is can be a repeatable purchase. So is this something that can be subscribe and save? And so if you have a product that's $20 and the clicks are $9, the math isn't mathing, because that means even at, let's say, 100% conversion rate, everybody that clicks buys, which never happens. But let's just say you had that. You're at like a 50% ACoS. So you would have to have 50% gross margins. So is this something where you're hoping to just get people on subscribe and save or repeat purchases? So if the average person buys 5 times, then your lifetime value of a customer is $100. That changes the math quite a bit. So in order for there to be $9 to $10 bids, I would imagine that there has to be some sort of component like that. Or is this a gateway product of some sort? And I can't think of a good example. Like people that buy this also buy something bigger down the road. There has to be some lifetime value of a customer, and the concept of a value ladder ascension is not something that really is applicable as much to selling on Amazon as maybe in other niches, but maybe there's some sort of value ascension, like people that buy this product will then buy that product and then buy that product. So it's a loss leader, so to speak, to get them in the door. But yeah, I'd be very curious. What is this mythical product that is $10 bids and the price of the product is only $20? And so is it truly that the product is only $20? Are there, people selling a pack of 10 for $180 or something like that? Is there other ways to market this product? Because you're going to have to get creative, or find a different product to sell, because that math is horrendous. I don't mean to be what's the word I'm looking for? I don't mean to be pessimistic, but you also have to have some level of realism to figure out, like, I can't go down a path of just purely one-time purchases for $9 to $10 PPC bids. And I don't generally see PPC bids that high on most products, especially not when we're talking about $20, unless we're talking about like supplements or something super profitable that is also super repeatable purchase. Or even something like poop bags, for example. Like people will buy them over and over again. Like I think my wife just goes in and just whatever the last poop bags that we bought, just, goes to our orders and just rebuys them. Like they work, they do the trick. So we rebuy them. So, and they're relatively inexpensive product, but I would imagine the cost per click on those are probably fairly high. All right. Next up, what is the launch strategy for a new product with a low budget? Great question. So, if you have a low budget, you're going to have to think about a few different things. So, for example, is your product have a low budget because, you have, well, let me take a step back. Oftentimes when people say they have a low budget starting out, because if you're starting out and all your money you've put on the product itself, Amazon has a little bit of that chicken and egg problem. Oftentimes we call it the flywheel effect of, in order to get sales, you need to get impressions. But in order to get impressions, you need to get sales. So which came first, the impressions or the sales? Theoretically, impressions come before sales, but you don't get the impressions until you get the sales. So PPC at least helps you buy impressions. Now you're charged based on cost per click, but still you want to get in front of people. So a couple things to think about. How can you have as good of a main image as possible? Do you have a keyword in your main image? What can you do to improve your main image compared to your competitors? All things that are super important. Focus on those things. You need to make sure that your main image is super clickable, because you'll get some deals ultimately on pay-per-click if you're getting a higher click-through rate. So at the end of the day, I personally believe Amazon looks at it as, and I've never seen this, but I've never seen anything where Amazon has directly said this, but they give us clues. So oftentimes we think of conversion rate as click to purchase. I think Amazon looks at it as impression to purchase. So like it's basically a two-step funnel. It's impression, click, purchase. So in that two-step process of, from impression to click and from click to impression, that conversion rate is how they measure conversion rate in Amazon experiments. Because there's only so many impressions out there. Yes, there's tons and tons of impressions, and there's tons and tons of people searching for whatever it is. But at the end of the day, there's only so many. So, and there's more products wanting to get on page one and the top of page one or whatever choice placements than there are availability of those choice placements. So Amazon is going to put in front of the customer the products most likely to get a sale. So how can you get more people to click is your easier of the two steps to fix, is figure out how to get more people to click, and then also how to get more people to convert. But as Stephen points out, and rightfully so, it is easier to get twice as much traffic than to get twice as many conversions off of the same traffic. So better to focus on traffic, fixing traffic first, than fixing your conversions. You want to make sure your listing is also converting, because if you send traffic to a listing that doesn't convert, you're just wasting money. Excuse me. But you want to basically do both. But focus, I would say 80-20% on your clickability of your main image, because that'll help your click-through rate. And then from there, your conversion rate. Then think of it this way too, that you're also recouping money as you get sales. So, oftentimes people think like, oh, my budget is X amount. Now, if you've done Facebook ads in the past or Google ads, you can spend thousands of dollars and have nothing to show for it. Now on Amazon, if you have relevant products that have good listings that are able to convert, which I would just hope if you're jumping in the arena, that you at least have that armor on, so to speak, that you have at least done that part of having at least a basic listing that people will click on and will buy. Even if it doesn't convert as well, and maybe you're starting off with some of the wrong keywords, or you need more social proof with more reviews, whatever the case is, you will still get people to buy, which will, even if it's at like, let's say a 70% A cost, you're still recouping some of that money that you're spending back. So even if you have a low budget, you should still have some flywheel effect going and some snowball, which you should be able to optimize and improve upon. So I wouldn't look at it as like, I'm going to have no more money to spend on ads. Ideally, you're recouping money. Now, granted, Amazon may take you 2-3 weeks to give you that money back, but hopefully that helps. All right. Scrolling on down. All right. One person asked the same question quite a few times. Asking the same question multiple times doesn't mean I'm going to get to it faster. And I've already actually answered that particular question. I do my best. But like I've said in the beginning of this, sooner you ask the question, the more likely I will get to it. So, all right, scrolling down here. Alizo Crypto says, hi, Amazon Prime Day for newborn sellers is very bad. I had a terrible experience. I couldn't enable Prime Day deal batch, etc. It sort of killed my BSR from 31 in the subcategory to 137 within a week. I don't know how new sellers should deal with this tsunami where only sharks can get their food. It's very hyperbolic language. No, I understand where you're coming from. I lose my campaign ranking during Prime Day. Couldn't get a single flippin' sale during Prime Week. What should be the strategy? And how can we know if this sale is via PPC or Amazon influencers? Well, one, you could take a look at like what were your sales total for PPC and what were your sales total for the week. And so whether or not that's influencers, I'm not 100% sure. If you're using attribution links for traffic coming off Amazon, that could give you a clue as to where the sale came from. But I would say even if you didn't have, like, honestly, I don't really run a lot of deals. I'm not a big deal guy. I run coupons normally, but I don't run big deals just for Prime Day. I know some people differ with that. I have found for a lot of my products, they don't make as big of a difference. For some products, they can be huge and help you get a lot of sales. But I would say if your sales tanked, like my best day last week was Tuesday. My second best day last week was Wednesday because Wednesday was Prime Day. Now they were better than average days, but they weren't like off the chart. But if you lost all of your sales that week, it's not, I don't think it was because of Prime Day or because you didn't have deals running for Prime Day. Like I would say there's something else going on and you need to take a look at what is that. And I know this is probably not what you want to hear. I wouldn't want to hear that. But as a business owner, sometimes we have to take a step back and say, what is the aggregate of what is happening around me? Like what is the total picture here? And figure out like, okay, what can I do that's within my control that I can fix? I can't control that maybe I didn't get the deal in on time, or well, I guess maybe you could control that, or that you're having issues with it maybe the first time. Now in the future, how do you fix the deal issue? As Jim Rohn would say, don't wish you were easier, wish you were better. So how do you get better at that? But then also, is there something with your ads? Did something, did you run out of inventory? Did you have, something else may have happened if your sales went down to 0. And I don't think it's just from that. Now, you mentioned the BSR in your subcategory. I don't even pay attention to that. I wouldn't pay attention to your subcategory BSR. It's not a metric I think I ever really look at. It feels kind of like a vanity metric. Your total category BSR, like home and kitchen, I might look at that just to see, how am I doing? But the subcategory ones, I wouldn't worry too much about. And if you're in a niche where people are very, very deal conscious and you did lose a bunch of sales because of deals and everyone else is like giving away their shirt, maybe you'll start getting your ranking back here this week when the deals are over, and you don't have to worry about, they gave away all their margin, but you still have margin for your product and you still have the inventory going into Q4. So keep that in mind too. So it's not all negative. Just some things I would think about there. Sorry. Why is it that sometimes broad matches performs better than exact and vice versa? There is no reason, just because of reasons. That's it. And this is why Steven likes to say, never negate a good keyword. So the truth of the matter is, like if you were to download your bulk file report, every keyword has its own line, and every keyword has a record ID associated to it. And there's a history ingrained into the algorithm in the database associated to that record ID. How the algorithm weights all that, no one truly knows, but we can only guess. But what we do know is that just because something is exact match doesn't mean that the algorithm is going to favor it. So for whatever reason, whatever variables the algorithm is working with, maybe the broad match is but the broad match is performing better. So it gets more impressions because it's performing better than the exact match version of the same keyword. And that just happens. And then also, the thing to also keep in mind too is exact match is more blunt. This is the word I want to go after. Whereas broad match is more flexible. So it could also be that you're just showing up for a bunch of other search terms within that keyword. And maybe you want to promote those to their own keywords, broad and exact. And then those can also get their own sales. So hopefully that was helpful. I think I have time for one more question, and then we will call it a day. So, all right, let me get to this last question here. I have a question. Why this client has a food category, and on social media, we have almost 40,000 followers, but on Amazon, it's dead, going 1 to 2 orders daily. And he suggests a strategy. All right. I don't generally believe there's that much of a correlation with followers on social media and with sales on Amazon. So best way to test this is start posting. So use an attribution link. So if they have 40,000 followers on social, you should be creating attribution links and testing this out. See, like, okay, if we run, like if this is Instagram, like for example, Instagram is terrible for attribution because I believe you can put in stories, but not that many people look at stories. So if they have 40,000 followers, when were these, when were these followers gained? How recent were the followers added? And so I would look at all of those type of things and just see, like, can they send sales using an attribution link? So at least you can track this. And that will help you figure it out, because is that a relevant, is the audience relevant, and are they engaged? Meaning, like, if they put out a post, are they getting 6 likes, or are they getting like 100 likes and 50 comments? Those are where in that range is it? And then that will tell you, like, if people are going to purchase the food product. And it says there is a price war in the market. Yeah, there's a little bit of that everywhere. So how do you position it as maybe potentially being more premium? I would look at this. So if they have 40,000 followers, that is a good thing. And I would say, especially if that's an engaged audience, they could potentially get more people to the listing with those 40,000 followers, assuming they're relevant. So you can test the relevancy by testing, making a couple posts about the product, using attribution links, and see, excuse me, are you getting any sales out of that? So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Sorry for the for who are here when I had a little bit of a audio snafu, but a lot of people stuck around through that, and I appreciate that. And sorry for the raspiness of my voice and any muting I've had to do because of that. So with that, thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and hope to see you at the next one.